Religion 500, please.
The answer is denomination founded by a group of Oxford University students led by John Wesley. Tie.
What is Methodism?
Methodism is good for 500, and you're on the plus side. Select.
Common bonds for 300, please.
Adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters, DN agents, the Fantastic Four. What are comic book characters or groups? Tie, go again.
Common bonds for 400, please.
Answer. Killing, Onion, WC. Carl.
What are fields?
That's right.
Comics are totally awesome. And I'm totally awesome too. BRZRKR has everything you want from a comic book. It's got great drawings, colors, great story. It's got great action, has a little romance, and it's about something. Not just any something. It's a parody of some thing. I was like, well, I used to collect, and I love comic books. And they were like, so, did you ever want to make a comic book? And I was like, yeah. And then Parody Press was like, oh, yeah. So they made a comic book that's a parody of my comic book. And it will probably be pretty hilarious, because that's what a parody is. Or at least what it's supposed to be. You know, this idea of kind of like a rock and roll warrior. Someone in an altered state. Someone with a big guitar axe. Then a pet cat that's from the hood. Just out of control. Speaking of out of control, there's his beard. It gets bigger and longer throughout the book until it takes on a fantastical life of its own. It's like, whoa! So, check it out. If you do, I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoyed making it. But honestly, I didn't really do that much, other than rambling on about comics and books. I mean, comic books. Wait, what was I saying? Oh well. Enjoy! Beardzzerker from Parody Press. Back it today!
I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I've lost my influence. Maybe it's time I retired the coat.
You still have it.
Some kids with a deer rifle put 2 holes in the sleigh, one in me. All I have is a loathing for a world that's forgotten.
The United States military would like to procure your services.
This is a one-time deal, gentlemen. How are you, Mike? Nicole and the kids are well, I hope.
Where are you?
You just lost a big son!
What's the job?
I'd like you to kill Santa Claus.
I'm looking for the fat man.
You can't be serious.
This is what people actually think of me. Christmas is a farce. I am a joke.
What's the purpose of your visit?
Hunting. I'm gonna kill some things.
There is a rising number of our youth making poor decisions.
want the big man's head.
Severed heads rot, they mold.
Then I want his beard.
I'm not shaving off a dead man's beard.
Your workers sure have healthy appetites.
That's why elves live much longer than humans.
And Chris, he does the same?
No, it's a giving that keeps him young.
I've come for your head, fat man!
Dashing through the snow, no one horse open sleigh.
You think you're the first?
All the fields we go,
Think I got this job because I'm fat and jolly?
nothing all the way. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in one horse open sleigh.
How come while you're sleeping? The fat man's got his eye on you, kid.
Hey, whoa!
Oh, that's Donner. Lucky it wasn't Blitzer should tear your package clean off.
I got the hot drive on modulator and the 2-day uneven flow. Inside the time space continuator, there's a flux mount that's set to go. This thing is vertical, retractable, reversible, submergible and Germany. And the mechanism cross divide and multiply and just try to jam it in. It's Germany. Plug the main out into the AC. I've got the steam pre to heat it up. If there's a dropout inside the timepiece, in the jam scene, we'll lock it up. I've been building it, planning it, dreaming it, planning it, jamming it, jamming it. And if I pull a switch and nothing hits, I'll do it all again. Right now, I give everything. In the undergrid, we're getting shaky. The excitement is in the air.
Hey everyone, good morning, good evening, wherever you may be. This is your host, Don Chin, for another fun episode of Comics and Coffee. And I apologize, you're just seeing a talking head at the moment. I had to shut down my studio for a few days because we had some guests come into town. And my makeshift studio is the guest bedroom. So normally I would have, my set with the green screen and all my little collectibles behind me. But unfortunately, someone is sleeping in that room. So I'm broadcasting from my other studio, which is not as glamorous as the one that you normally see. But have no fear, you will see the regular studio in just a few minutes because we're going to be playing an interview that I taped with our guest, who is 3D Robin. And we filmed this last Sunday and we talked about an hour, and you're going to get to see all sorts of cool stuff that you probably not have seen before. There's some cool CYBERFROG and Salamandroid 3D sculptures. There's video game footage, and Robin's all the way over in the UK. I'm hoping he can join the chat. I think he said he was going to be here. I don't know if he's here yet, but I just sent him a little Twitter message. He's like 8 hours ahead of us. So it's about, let's see, about 5 o'clock p.m. his time. But before we get started, I wanted to say hi to everybody. Thank you, Abominable, for being here, my friend. We have our friend Pops is here from Comic Talk. And please check out their channels. Marvin Wynn from The Edge is here. Good morning. Warren is here. And Herrenberg, our trusty moderator, is here. And Warren, good morning again. So here's, I've got a whole bunch of stuff to kind of tell you about before we get into the show. I think I mentioned last week that I had a chance to talk with Jim Brewer. And if you guys don't know who Jim Brewer is, he's a comedian who was on Saturday Night Live, and he was in the movie Half Baked with Dave Chappelle. He does a lot of stand-up comedy, and he's been in the news a lot lately because he's kind of controversial. But I like Jim a lot, and I've loved his comedy for quite a long time. And so we subscribe to his Patreon channel, which is online, and you can see, you can actually hear the interview that I did with him. They just uploaded it today. I don't know if you have to pay like a monthly fee to hear the whole interview, but I think they're going to release like a video snippet, like 4 or 5 minutes long. They haven't released it on his Facebook page yet, but I think that it's only a matter of time before they do that. I think they released it to the Patreon subscribers. So everybody that's a Patreon subscriber to Jim Brewer can hear my interview in its entirety. But if you want to, if you want to just look at a little preview, they're going to probably release that a little later. And I'll put that on my social media. In fact, if you go to my Twitter, I just uploaded it here before the show today. So if you go to @RealDonChin on Twitter, you can see I posted this graphic that my wife did, and it's what the Patreon people are seeing. So it was really cool to talk to Jim. I mean, a lot of people know about him growing up in, Long Island in New York, and he makes a lot of fun comedy sketches. But I wanted to talk to him about comics. Oh, there he is. Robin is in the chat. All right. Awesome. So, folks, when we get started with Robin's content, feel free to chime in if you have questions. If Robin's available to answer the questions, then he will. And I'm so glad that he's here, both on the pre-recorded interview as well as live in the chat. So, Robin, welcome so much. I'm just taking care of a few greetings here before we get started. So, anyways, I got to talk to Jim about comics and cartooning, because he mentioned in an earlier podcast that he was in cartooning as a younger child. And so you get to kind of hear about what he used to draw and what his favorite comic book character is. He mentioned that Batman was his favorite. And so I got to talk to him about life and just kind of living in these crazy days. And he was super cool, just really cool. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Herrenberg. You already have it. So you can, if you like Jim and you want to support him, you can pay a monthly fee. I think it starts at like $5 per month, and you could unlock the interview with me and Jim. And he interviews his fans like every week. So I was a little disappointed that we can't have a full video, but they might do video like releasing the video content in the future. But right now it's just the audio hour-long interview with me and Jim. So that's fun. So anyways, that's kind of the announcement for this morning. And then if you look at my Twitter page as well, if I scrolled up a little bit, I played the Fat Man movie trailer before the show started. And if you guys haven't seen Fat Man, it's kind of a dark Christmas comedy directed by the Nelms brothers, and it stars Mel Gibson and Walton Goggins. And it's basically this kid gets a lump of coal in his stocking, and he is so upset by it that he hires an assassin to go after Santa Claus. So the directors of that movie were going to be on my show this Friday, at 2 p.m. Pacific time. That's 5 p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to meet the Nelms brothers, their names are Ishan and Ian Nelms. They're going to be in my studio, and we're going to talk to them, and you can ask them questions. So if you haven't seen Fat Man yet, it's actually free on the Peacock app, which is, I think, an NBC app. You just download it, and then you can watch it with commercials. It's rated R because there's violence and some language. So it's kind of like almost like a Die Hard type of holiday movie, you know, a little dark, lots of action. So please feel free to check that out. And they are also the directors of Small Town Crime, which is another really good movie, kind of a gumshoe detective, gritty ensemble cast piece that you can see on Netflix. And it has a really good cast. It has Anthony Anderson in it, Octavia Spencer. I think the main character's name is Mike Kelly or something like that, his the actor's name. And it also has Octavia Spencer, Michael Vartan. Yeah, it's a really good movie. Robert Forster. It might have been maybe Robert Forster's last movie before he passed away, but we can ask him about that. So anyways, let's go ahead and start this interview with Robin. And I'm going to go ahead and take this little screen share off here. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to go ahead and load this interview with Robin, and you can watch it, and Robin's going to be in the chat. So we're going to have lots of fun with that. And after the show's over, I'll say goodbye to everyone, and we'll go from there. So here we go, guys. Enjoy this interview with Robin, and it'll be fun. Hey everyone, this is Don. I'm here on a pre-recorded show with our guest today. It's 3D Robin, and the plan is we're going to go over Robin's career and just kind of what influenced him in both comics and video games, and his 3D animation. Very talented. He's done work for Ethan Van Sciver. He did this cool design on this PVC, which I just unboxed today. And I also have the Salamandroid one, which we're going to unbox as well. I met Robin through my show chat, and he graciously agreed to come on. He doesn't do this a whole lot, so I consider this a real rare honor to have Robin join us. He's all the way over in England, so we thought this would be an easier format for him just because it's the time difference. So Robin should be in the chat during this replay. And so if you have questions and you're in the chat, feel free to type them out. And if Robin wants to answer them, he will answer them in the chat. So we're not going to have like a live Q&A. I'm just going to interview him like I would any other guest. And This is Don. I'm here on a pre-recorded show with our guest today. It's 3D Robin, and the plan is we're going to go over Robin's career and just kind of what influenced him in both comics and video games, and his 3D animation. Very talented. He's done work for Ethan Van Sciver. He did this cool design on this PVC, which I just unboxed today. And I also have the Salamandroid one, which we're going to unbox as well. I met Robin through my show chat, and he graciously agreed to come on. He doesn't do this a whole lot, so I consider this a real rare honor to have Robin join us. He's all the way over in England, so we thought this would be an easier format for him just because it's the time difference. So Robin should be in the chat during this replay. And so if you have questions and you're in the chat, feel free to type them out. And if Robin wants to answer them, he will answer them in the chat. So we're not going to have like a live Q&A. I'm just going to interview him like I would any other guest. And then it'll be fun. So we'll probably go, about an hour and just kind of review all the cool stuff that he's been involved with. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring in our guest 3D Robin. Robin, how are you? Good evening.
Hi, Don. Good evening to you. It's good. Is it morning over there?
It is right now when I'm recording.
Noonish.
It's about almost half hour before noon. How was you're still on your Sunday, right?
Yes. Yep. Yes. Relaxing after. It's been a long year working.
Yeah.
I'm working on sometimes it's 4 games at a time, Don, so I need to learn all of the tools involved in all of these separate games, and it's quite taxing on my brain because they all use different tools, which is really annoying.
Do you try to take a day off? I mean, is Sunday a day you just kind of let your mind?
Well, it's ever since I've started working. It's Saturday and Sunday. I really need them now, and the evenings to relax and unwind. Or I'm trying to learn some other bit of tool that I know is coming up.
What's your normal work day look like? What time do you get up, and do you just work from your house?
Yeah, we're in. It's a new lockdown because of the new variant, but. I've been I've been a remote worker since 2005. Actually, I've been waiting for everybody else to sort of catch up with the whole idea of working from home. It's just taken a kind of a pandemic to bring that into fruition. But I'm constantly getting offers now for remote work, so it is good. I never liked the idea of commuting and the work I do doesn't really require me to be at the office. There's a lot of people who would like to see bums on seats and things like that, but in a lot of different places where you work, it all depends. If the work doesn't get done, it doesn't get done, doesn't it? You can't just sit there watching YouTubes all day and
right.
You've still got to produce something at the end of the day, and so that's what I've always tried to do as much as I can, a lot of people just want you to work in an office for the sake of it, I think.
Can you explain to our watchers what your avatar is? Because it looks like an angry bird, or
it's a robin swearing on a spade.
Did you create that?
Yeah, that was ages ago I made that. Yeah, and it just seemed quite fitting.
A lot, do you?
I'm trying to keep it clean for you, Don. I'll keep it clean for you.
I know we chatted a little bit before I pressed the record button, Robin. And you've been, I think you're about 10 years younger than me. So tell us, how did you get involved in both animation and comics? I know you mentioned some of your comic book influences. And you can
well, my brother really got me into comics and music, and it was my older brother, a couple of years older, and so he always seemed to get into the cool things. And he was buying Swamp Thing and just a lot of DC stuff. And I wasn't that into the superheroes. I was more into this kind of art books that he'd sometimes bring home. And then as I got into college, I was studying graphic design, and so there's so much of that within the comics medium, isn't there? You know, with the you know, sound effects and you know, panel layouts and things like that. And so I've always kind of gravitated towards that rather than fine art or any kind of illustration. I love the structure of comics and then the storytelling as well. My mum brought back a whole box full of these sci-fi small little comics. They were like kind of, you know, novel size. Britain seemed to have a history of getting into comics in the sort of 60s and 70s and doing like stuff like, I mean, I know 2000 AD was a little bit later, it was in the 80s, right? It started in 78, but before that there was Battle and Warlord and things like that, and they were kind of boys comics, you know, about World War II, you know, soldiers and things like that, and Flash Gordon style things, yeah. And so
I was going to ask you, did you ever work on a comic book?
Never. No.
Never.
I mean,
really?
I did try one time to do my own thing when I was about 18, but that was just a little hobby. I think as I mentioned earlier, there was a comic shop near me where I lived down on the south coast, and I used to go and rummage around and look for the kind of indie comics. Really, I was into Cerebus, and which my brother sort of introduced me into, and then from that I got into I think I told you earlier, I remember stumbling across the Radioactive Black Belt Mutant Hamster, and loved it. The 3D, I managed to get myself a set of 3D glasses. There wasn't any with the comic.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, that was just an amazing moment actually for me, because I'd never seen a 3D comic before. So
yeah, you had all 4 issues, and I think my favorite one was the first issue, which Ty Templeton drew, was when they were wrestlers. But Ray Zone did a lot of the 3D separations back in the 80s, and sadly he's passed away, and I don't see a whole lot of people.
Oh right, is he taking his secrets with him?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a family, but I don't think his kids are still doing that. So Robin, what did you so you were reading Swamp Thing, probably like the Alan Moore ones back
I got into the Watchmen, but just peripherally into Swamp Thing. I can remember some old stuff from the Epic Comics. I liked Alien Legion.
Oh yeah, that's a great series. I love Alien Legion.
Yeah. So, and I was into the European stuff as well. So Mobius and the Incal and things like that. Heavy metal, yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the heavy black ink illustration and line weight, you know. I really have because from my graphic design days, I used a lot of Rotring ink pens, you know. So that's the sort of style I'm really into. But I did kind of fall into animation. I was at a graphic design course down on the south coast, and it was awful. It was terrible. Fortunately, I was at a time in the UK where the government paid for my education, right, which they don't do anymore. But I had 2 years paid for, and there was a kind of clause that if you left your course before the 7th end week of the first term, you could reset your grant. Yeah, and so luckily I did that and got onto an animation course in Wales. And that was a fluke. I saw it in. There was like a clearing newspaper at the time, which was if you hadn't got the results you wanted, there was a whole bunch of universities or polytechnics in the UK that would, you know, accept you, even with bad results. Okay, so that's the clearing process. And then I applied, and they said yes. And at the time, I'd been coming out of graphic design and just illustrating and drawing, and so I took along a bunch of these drawings to the animation interview, and they said, "Oh, we'd love to see these move about," and I was like, "Yeah, me too." And so yeah, I got accepted on that course, and that was a 2-year. It's called an HND, so it's not they're not academic, they're vocational courses in the UK. You can sometimes over here you can do a degree, or you can do an HND, and the degree takes 3 years. The HND is 2 years, but the HND is more prepped to getting you to work 9 to 5, as a sort of professional after the 2-year course. Whereas the degree can be more, you learn about the history of it and da-di.
How old were you when you finished with your degree?
I was 22, so slightly older, because I'd had a couple of years out.
Okay.
So I'd grown up a little bit.
What was your vividly? What do you remember growing up was your favorite animated shows? Did you see the Heavy Metal movie?
I did. Yeah. I can tell you what I don't like, Don. I don't like stuff like. I mean, it sounds horrible to say, but the stuff like The Simpsons. Just the quality of the animation, I'm just not into. It's farmed out to the Philippines and things like that, and I just can't get my head around it. And Family Guy, just the animation style on that is just. It doesn't really matter how good the stories are or the characters are. I just can't watch it because of the animation.
Sure. Did you like when you grew up, what kind of animation did you enjoy? Do you remember watching TV shows or movies that were impressive? Yeah,
well, obviously, the Disney stuff is still pretty impressive now. I mean, things like Pinocchio and Dumbo and things like that. Some of the old classics are great. Trying to think back about what kind of animation I was into.
Who do you like with the more modern computer-generated animation? Do you like Pixar stuff, or?
I do quite like Pixar, yeah. They've kind of gone a bit Disney-fied, which now is a bad term. It used to be a good term, I think, Disney-fied, but now it's a bad term. I can see them being a little bit generic, like the same characters are now being kicked out for different versions of the movies. It's become a sort of an amalgamous style, where I think early 3D kind of looked like it did through a lot of technical limitations. Yeah, so if you see one of Pixar's or John Lasseter's first films called Tin Toy, that was a kind of direct result of the limitations of the 3D programs he was using at the time and the rendering and the abilities they could do. That's completely changed now, and you can do some incredible stuff. But I do actually think those limitations forced you into being better storytellers, and that was Pixar's advantage when it first came about. And I think that was probably why Disney bought them, was because they were amazing storytellers. What the great thing that Pixar did for the CG industry was show that story was the most important thing. Not that it didn't really matter that it was CG animated. It was a tool, and so that's what I like, is where it isn't all about. There used to be a thing called chrome dolphin syndrome in the late sort of 90s and 80s, where CG would just look chrome all the time. And we're going to see some stuff that from CYBERFROG that suffers from chrome dolphin syndrome purely because he's covered in chrome. But just about just talking about how CG was seen back in the day. It was kind of hot robot women and things like that. It was like when the airbrushed art, illustration art first came out. Everybody wanted to airbrush ice creams melting, right?
Yeah.
So when CG first came out, it was chrome dolphins.
You know what's funny, Robin, is I'm a realtor in my day job, and I live about 5 or 6 hours north of San Francisco, and I just sold a house to somebody, and he was an investor, and I asked him, what do you do for a living? And he's from the Bay Area, which is the San Francisco area. And he says, I'm an animator for Pixar. So
Oh, wow.
I got to meet him, and he said he's worked on all the Toy Stories, and anyways, that was fascinating. I haven't had a chance to, interview him, but I might in the future.
Yes, I mean those guys are real actors. What they can do. Because I'm into games, and I started on things like the N64. Those limitations were very real. We could only spare 16 frames for an idle animation and a run at those times. So if you look up, so I've been shackled my whole career, and that's kind of led to how I've developed my skills from now, which is not I'm not a full-blown character animator, even though I do work on character animations. They're limited in that they're little snippets used for interaction by players within the game.
I was going to ask you, Robin, I think you had mentioned in a direct message before we were setting up this show that your first system was like a 486 with how much RAM?
4 meg.
4 megs of RAM. How much did that system cost you? It was probably.
It was. I rented it. I had to rent it. I couldn't afford it, John. Yeah. Those were. Those were the days. Definitely. As soon as I got a computer, I fell in love with it. As I just thought, this is for me,
Yeah.
And just stopped drawing at that point. I mean, for me, it was the death of sketching and things like that. Unfortunately, because I did used to really enjoy it, but I just poured all of my time into developing my 3D skills. So I got a copy of 3ds Max. No, 3DS4 it was at the time, which was by it's like an AutoCAD company.
Okay.
And just started trying to do anything I could, and ripping off Pixar, just trying to learn how they did it and get better.
Well, did you want to share some of your work? I know that you've sent me some images, but I wanted to just give you the opportunity. Maybe you can explain. I wanted to kind of talk about CYBERFROG first. So you met Ethan through his show?
I did, yeah. I was listening I was listening to his Star Wars rants, which I totally agreed with about what the hell are they doing with it. I mean, we came out of Rogue One thinking, oh, all right, this could be pretty good. I don't know what's happening, and then we had what happened, and so it became. And then I mean, I have to admit, I hadn't really followed Ethan's career at all, because I just wasn't that interested in DC and things like that, and Marvel. I just wasn't interested in the big characters, as we talked about, and just loved his art as soon as I saw it, and was interested in seeing what I could do as like a little computer game for him. And so that was how we got in touch. Was I did this a demo for him, which was quite grueling actually to make. It was I think about my third or fourth time I've tried to do a game on my own. Usually you need a whole team. I mean, 20 years ago you needed 8 or 9 people. You needed someone to build the engine, the design, the designers, and then artists to draw the textures, and then modelers to do the 3D part, coders. You needed more coders than you could shake a stick at. But these days with middleware, stuff like Unity and Unreal, that kind of gets rid of some of those coders, which is good in my books. I'm trying to get to the point, Dom, where I don't need a coder.
Okay. So the game came first before the PVC sculpt?
Oh yeah, way before. Oh. But the PVC actually evolved out of the model that I made for the game.
Okay. So the game that you're talking about, is it the blood honey one that we're going to do kind of a little look at? Okay. So, I mean, it's up to you if you'd rather. I didn't know chronologically that the game came first. So if you want to do if you think it might be more natural.
Yeah, let's do the game first. Let's do the game first.
Folks, I'm going to share Robin's. You can still download this. Let me show people. You can download the video game. Does it work only on PCs, Robin, or is it for
PC, Mac, and Linux? I did the sort of the main three. Don't get your hopes up, guys. It's not incredible. It's just all right. It's good, and there is a few in jokes in there, you know, of Ethan. I tried to put my heart and soul in it. This was kind of before I knew anything about Bloodhoney. This was in 2018. I was making this, and I only had what Ethan was drawing at the time to go on. So I didn't know the full story at that time, and so I guessed a few things.
Okay, so folks, you can still download this on the amphibionics.com website, but what we have here is Robin sent me a link. He does have a YouTube channel, and I know you're not really doing that much content, but if you want to subscribe,
it was just for the game, really, and if you subscribe, that nothing's going to happen.
Okay, so what I'm doing, folks, is I'm gonna play this video. Maybe we'll show about 5 minutes, and Robin can explain. Hopefully, we can hear you talk over the audio. So I'll if it gets a little too loud, we can adjust it. So here's the CYBERFROG Bloodhoney game demo, and you did this back in 2018. 18. Okay, so let me go ahead and start it.
So I think what's that? 3 years ago, around about this sort of time, 3 years ago, I would have been breaking my head against trying to work out how to throw cars, which was part of the demo.
Did you used to play Battletoads back in the day?
I didn't. I have no idea about Battletoads at all. Okay. Yeah.
So here we go. So you did all this 100%, correct?
Yeah, basically. Wow. So just some little cutscenes here to introduce the game. This cutscene I was doing before I worked out the code of how to throw cars. I'd just done this cutscene, and Ethan saw it and then said on a live stream, "Oh, there's going to be throwing cars in the game." And I thought, "Oh shit, I've got to put that in now." And then I spent 4 weeks working every hour God sent me to be able to put it in. And it almost killed me, to be honest with you, Don. It really, really, to get my head around it was...
Let me see if I can make it bigger and put us on the bottom.
Yeah, there you go. So that took a month for me to work out for him to pick up the car and throw it.
Wow. So how many man hours would you say you put into this?
Oh,
sounds like a lot.
Thousands. It was 3 months' work, basically, of every day of those. So 90 days and doing 16, 17-hour days.
Wow. And this was totally out of just being a fan. You weren't commissioned.
Well, I mean, yes, yeah, but I mean, I was trying to get better at making games as well at the same time, Don. So it was for my own benefit as well as it was just when you put a lot of time into something, it's got to be for something you think's cool, right? And I thought CYBERFROG was cool, so
This is awesome. What did you grow up playing as a kid?
Oh,
this is Fabio. That's
just the standard stuff, I mean, sort of Space Invaders when I was 4 or 5 in the local sort of fish and chip shop, and I loved arcade games. So I've put one in here. This is what you're just about to play, which is Pie Man, which is just a version of Pac-Man.
Is it like a mini game within the?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
There you go.
This is classic.
So that's Ethan at the pie market with his family trying to chase him to stop him from eating pies.
That is hilarious. What did Ethan think of this when you showed him that?
I don't know. I don't know what he thought, really. I think he might have been offended, but I think he saw the joke.
I think so. It's pretty darn funny.
But it is a very elaborate troll, isn't it? Just to make an entire game to put in a Pie Man game.
So did you have a Commodore 64 or a?
I had a Spectrum. I had a Spectrum 48K. Yeah, I did try to make some games on that, but it was so limited at the time.
Yeah.
I tried to make this kind of like a 2D, 3D thing.
Yeah. What software do you use primarily on this demo?
This was done with 3D Studio and Unity. So Unity was the game engine.
I don't even know how you would start. I mean, this seems to me it would take me a lifetime.
Well, I started with the CYBERFROG character and then trying to work out the controls. So when you push forward, you can make like a state machine, which is it holds certain clips of the character. So there'll be a clip of him punching and kicking and things like that, and then you wire them up to work with keys. Yeah, so you press A or the mouse button, and then it'll fire off the clips of the animation that you've put.
Oh, okay. This is really cool, Robin. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I mean, it turned out all right for what it was, but it was a lot of work from me for 5 minutes of play, really.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I mean, there's just a lot easier to make a comic, Don, than it is to make a game, really.
Sure, I can tell. And you have to do all the sculpting of all the backgrounds and the buildings.
Yeah, some of the buildings I downloaded from the Unity marketplace, so I didn't have to do a lot of the buildings, but yeah, all the characters and all the little bits, and some of the cars I got for free as well. So, and then I just bashed them up a little bit. But yeah, all the characters I've made and all the animations mine.
You mentioned a lot of the Atari games in the arcades. What did you remember playing at home once computer gaming, came to the household?
I was really into Elite, which was an old specky game.
Okay.
And what else did I like playing? I mean, I'm a big Zelda fan, so anything with the Nintendo Zelda, I really like.
Okay. So you worked on the N64 games. I love that system.
It was a good system, yeah.
Star Fox, played a lot of those. What was your favorite N64 game?
I really loved Star Fox, Don. I really loved it. You can wind that up there and stop that now. I think that's showing everybody me playing.
So, sorry about that. Hang on. Robin, I kicked you out. I meant to kick out the sharing of the screen. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Are you back?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me take out the... we still hear the sound, though. Why is that?
Oh, I don't hear the sound on my end.
Oh, you don't hear it? I do on my end. Let me just shut down the demo real quick. Anyways, that was a lot of fun looking at that. So, basically, you said you showed Ethan this game, and then it led to the...
Yeah. Well, he said, can you do me some little animations? And I said, yes, I can. And it just went from there, really. And I had a good couple of years working with him. And like I said, that model you saw in the game, that eventually evolved into the CyberFrog that is the PVC guy.
Okay.
Vastly different from the first iteration, but that's the kind of the ultimate.
I think I'm putting two and two together because he has an animation that he runs at the end of his show where he says you can send him mail, and it looks like your work. Is that?
Yeah.
Is that your work? That's what I thought. So here's the PVC. I actually have two of these. I kept one in the box, and this is the one that I took out. But you don't have this yet, right?
No, I'm waiting with everybody else to get mine. Yeah.
So this is beautiful.
I have got some.
Go ahead. Yeah,
I have got some 3D printouts that I made to check the stabilization of the model. So I've got some sort of blank white type, very small versions of him, and I made it, so I don't really need one, do I, Don? But it would be nice to get the painted version.
Do you want to share any of some of the work that you did to make this happen? Because this is all new to me, guys. I mean, I'm just a comic book guy, and we just work with, pencil and ink and computers. But when it comes to modeling and this is my first. Robin, you're my first guest that's an animator and designer, and it's just so cool to
really
talk about that. Yeah, are you ready to share this?
I am, yeah.
Okay,
if you can
cool.
see.
So let me make myself small here, and we'll add it to the. Let's see here. I thought I had it there for a second. Trying to share it. Let's see. Does that work? Okay, there we go. Okay, Robin, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is version, I think it's 43 of CYBERFROG with bigger feet now. You'll notice the one in the game, he had a lot smaller feet, so it's just iteratively, as I've worked on him, I've added bits to him here and there, yeah? So here's the 3D model. Here, I've posed him up here.
Oh, that's cool.
But as you can see, so he's made up of a lot of polygons, a lot of triangles.
So, how much, after you showed Ethan the video game, how long was it before you started working on what we're seeing?
Oh, it was a couple of months. I did some stuff for him. He was really into having me do some dances for him, and
okay, yeah.
So
animation.
Yeah.
Cool.
So the first couple that I did were with the much older model, and they weren't as good as this one. And so I updated it as he kept playing these old versions. I was like, oh, that doesn't look good, and oh, that bit doesn't look good at all. And he's kept playing them even when I sent him some fresher versions. He's still playing the old. I still see some old ones that I'm like, oh god, that looks terrible, I think that's all artists suffer that though, don't they? I mean, at the time I thought it was all right, and that shows you the artist's journey. Sometimes when they get into something else, they're thinking about something else, and you often need to step back and look at it as a whole and just compare it to different things, And of course, with Ethan's work, there's such a lot of precision there with his line work, isn't there? There's a lot of.
Yeah.
I was begging him to send me some model sheets, some a top, front, right, left, back, and he kind of didn't. So I had to make a lot of this up just from guesswork, and so it's not 100% accurate. Of course, it isn't.
So I guess from the time that you did these, it took him. I mean, these he just started shipping these this summer, so.
Oh yeah, I finished this. Yeah, a year ago. More longer than that. 18 months maybe. I finished this. The actual posing him up into the PVC model and doing the sort of finishing touches to get it to look good probably took about a month.
Wow.
So if you can see, this is the Sal and CYBERFROG walk cycle that Ethan commissioned me to do. So this was based off, the team up cover for Blood Honey, and you can see it. You can see here all the. Yeah, you can see all the boxes that are surrounding them. That's my rig. That's actually what I'm animating, rather than the actual, model beneath those boxes. So you have to.
Oh, go ahead.
The process is basically you model the character in what's called a T-pose, so with their arms outstretched, and then you rig them. So maybe I can force CYBERFROG into a T-pose, and we can have a look at that.
Now this is so technical. I can see why you get paid well.
I do all right, Don. I do all right. But yeah, it does take a lot of time. It's because you're trying to get it to look good from 360 degrees, right? You're not just you can fake a lot in a drawing with perspective and things like that. But yeah, when you so I'll bind the models to the rig. and then you can set smoothing groups to have, say, the part near his thighs only blend into his belt a little bit or a lot, and things like that. Yeah, so you have to basically go in and paint in effects for the weight of the bone on the model.
So, Robin, looking at this, side by side of Sal and CYBERFROG, how many hours are we talking about that you took to just do this?
Oh, just in this, the animation only took a couple of days, but yeah, the models for each of the characters probably took a month each. So yeah, there's there's 2 months and a few days in here just in this scene.
So, were you happy with the way Salamandroid came out? Because I know you said you had that PVC.
Yeah, really happy. Well, they weren't supposed to be this big at all. They were. The initial idea was Ethan wanted to do a keyring, and then there was a big furore in the chat about the fins on his shoulders puncturing scrotum sacs, and so we had to rethink it. And so it grew into a little figure, and before I know it, I was doing a Salamandroid that was like a meter long. If you extend his tail out, it's ridiculous, really.
Can I go ahead and open the?
If you want to have a little look at the.
All right. So what we're gonna do, guys, is I'm going to. Let's go ahead and look at this first while. Pull it up, because I'm going to open this.
This was the pose I made of them both. The heads. This is an older Salamandroid head there, but this was the both of them together.
When did you get yours, Robin?
A few months back. I got a couple of Salamandroids. Yeah, I sent one to my brother and kept one for posterity. Yeah.
What does your brother do? Is he still involved in?
He lives out in Detroit. He was born in America, born in Connecticut, and so he's American. Yeah, got a family in Michigan, and he's in QA. He was a little bit in games. Yeah, I'm often out in Michigan. My father used to live in Orlando, so I've always had a soft spot for the States. I've been out to LA, a couple of times. I'm not a big fan of sorry to say, Don, not a fan of California, but generally love America and Americans.
It's changed a lot since I've lived here, and the governor is not one of my favorite people. But so I've got. Did you get this whole box with like the calendar and all that, or just I don't know. I just bought a couple of the versions of the Salamandroids, and I got the 50 tier. So the 4-book tier with two CYBERFROGs coming. I hope. So this is just the calendar that I guess you can created. It starts in 2022.
Yeah, well, you were a honeycomb backer, weren't you, Don? So you've got the full package.
The big package. As we see, it comes in a nice all caps taped box. So
the packaging's amazing. He's really outdone himself.
Really incredible. Yeah. I mean, look at this. Every square inch is quality. I mean, this
it's brilliant.
He can't be making that much money.
No, I don't think. No, I don't think he is. The poor guy. Oh, you should have heard some of the first things I heard. They wanted him to order, I don't know, 20,000 CYBERFROGs. 20,000 Salamandroids, and I was like, come on, Ethan, I don't think you're going to sell 20,000. I mean, it was probably wrong of me to say, but I said if you can get him down to 10,000, then you've got a chance at selling them all. And I hope he does well. I hope he breaks even at least, because he put so much money into it.
Do you know how many he printed?
I think there was about 10,000 Salamandroids. I mean, he did a clever thing with the line to get. I think he's got a few hundred in the gold and silver versions as well. So
yeah,
but yeah, he definitely did 20. He did 20,000 CYBERFROGs. He had to do that many, I think, because he sold. It was one with every comic, wasn't it? I mean, if you think about it, it's amazing what he's giving away for free with a comic.
I totally agree. I bought 2 honeycomb boxes.
Oh, wow.
One to share and then one as an investment. But I mean, Robin, I hope you get yours soon, because this is beautiful as well.
Yeah, the paint job, we were a little bit worried at first, but they've done a decent job on the paint job. I mean, are there a few things I would have liked to have improved? Yes, but overall, I think it's cool. And I spent a long time working on that pose to try and get it to look great from every angle.
You did a great job.
Which I think I pulled off.
It's sweet. It's on my studio set, so
nice.
I guess I will try to open. Is yours out of your box, your Salamandroid? Or
No, I put him. Of course, I took him out to have a look, but yeah, he's back in the box on my shelf.
I mean, Ethan even put images on the tabs here. That's
yeah.
Sweet. And then
I don't know who did the packaging, but they did a good job.
They did a great job. So this is, it smells like fresh spray paint.
Yeah.
They probably used a lot of paint on this.
Oh yeah.
Bad boy. So this is.
I did see some photos. Ethan posted a few on his Twitter of them in the, on the manufacturing line and
this thing is heavy.
Components.
It's like you could use it to hold.
You could club someone to death with it. Yeah.
I know my grandkids are really into action figures, and they collect mainly the Star Wars. But I really want to show them Salamandroid, and it has the little. It has the metal wires on it. So
he's well tied down. Yeah, he is.
I might have to cut. I don't want to cut it because I'm afraid I'll cut this.
They should untwist.
Yeah, I'll work on that here. So.
But it was, I mean, really a fantastic thing. I mean, I've never worked on a figure before either. So although I've done characters in games and things like that, I never really had one produced into a figure. So this was great for me.
What's more exciting, seeing your final product on an action figure or seeing the game released that you worked on?
Just finishing that game. The demo was a big thing for me. Just getting it into a state where I thought people might enjoy it. So that was a massive relief that I managed to get the car throwing in. That was kind of okay. The game's AI is not very clever at all, and I kind of fell over on that. And I think I've kind of missed my opportunity with it, as far as being the person that could do a CYBERFROG game. I think there's going to be better teams out there that could do something a lot better than I could. I mean, but it's going to cost a lot of money. Right. I mean, I probably spent, I don't know, if I was charging 15 grand for making that demo, and that was like one level out of, you would have wanted 10. So you're talking about, 150 grand to make a game that probably would only last about an hour and a half, 2 hours,
I'm sorry if I'm making a lot of noise.
No, you go for it, Don. You go for it.
The center band off, and I think, there's still one more. It's very well tied down. Those Chinese people, they wrapped it good.
Yeah.
So, Robin, what else are you? Now I know you're working on a magazine with Steve, which
I am, yeah.
Show in a little bit. Steve Dye is he's got a new magazine called Rocket, and I looked at some of the pages, and if you're doing the graphic design, you are a very, very talented guy. It looks very cool and modern.
Yeah, I tried to give Steve a set of style and theme sort of guides, and made some suggestions about fonts and things like that he should go for, and yeah, we just worked together over the last kind of 2 or 3 months.
That tail is something else.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
It's crazy. It's awesome.
I remember saying to Ethan, are we sure that the tail's that long? And he's like, yep. So there you go. It's that long.
How long is this tail, Robin?
I don't know.
Not sure.
It's ridiculous.
It's almost like 3 feet long, I think.
Yeah.
One end to the other. But this is awesome, man. I can't believe that it was very reasonably priced, in my opinion, for something of this quality. So great job on all the colors. Did they faithfully paint it what you thought?
No, they did it the way they wanted it to be. I mean, it was reasonably close. So, but they were very limited with the amount. They couldn't sort of hand paint everything. Really, they had to do it in a kind of a manufacturing process line, you know. But they have done a good job on it.
That is so cool. So here you go, back to back.
Yeah, the two of them together.
Would you love? Now I know that someone in my chat asked me, what would you charge to do more types of this work? But you're not taking freelance right now.
I'm not, unfortunately. No, my freelance days are over. I now work for an enormous American company with thousands of people, and they're very woke. And I signed a contract saying I can't take any money from anybody else.
I'm going to put this back on my table next to the aquarium, and then do you want to check out Rocket real quick?
Yeah, if you've got something to show.
I think he's going to be on the show when we rebroadcast this. So Wednesday, which is, if you're watching this live, is the day that we're going to broadcast this interview. And I hope you'll be back so you can answer questions. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so Robin, this is Rocket. How did you meet Steve?
We were talking about doing a magazine a year back, and it didn't work out really. But we kept in touch, and I encouraged him to try again, and he did. And so here's Rocket.
It's kind of like a Wizard magazine, but for like
CG. Yeah. And so there's some features in there. He's got some interviews with Artie Bear and John Malin and Cecil, and and some new stuff in there. I know. I think Sim's got some stuff in there, and
Did you work on the trailer, or did he do that?
I think he might have done that. I did one where I did put together a version of the mag in 3D with on a flip book with pages.
Really? Do you have that with you?
But I'm not sure. Yeah, I might have I don't think I've got a version of that handy. But that might come out as that might be a sting somewhere that's come out. Hopefully I've sorted it out so that I can just drop in the new pages if he goes on to do a next issue, which I'm hoping he does.
Okay.
It'd be great if he can do this quarterly. I think that was the idea of what he wanted to do was do a quarterly magazine and have new features, obviously, each issue.
Did you do the logo or?
Yeah, I did it. All of the graphics work basically.
Wow. Yeah, this is beautiful. Did you used to read Wizard?
I did a little bit, yeah. And that's been a big inspiration on this, I think. Yeah, just taking that rocket ship theme, trying to make the rocket ship not look like a penis was kind of a big deal for me. So I think we've succeeded in making it look like a butt plug instead. But there you go. That's rockets for you, isn't it?
So this is all your work, all this, color
just the graphic. No, just the graphic stuff. I mean, Steve's done plenty of to sort of work with the themes that I've given him. So yeah, but all the backdrop work and the silhouettes of the rockets and things like that, the patterned stuff.
I need to back this. So what do you like to read these days, Robin? Do you have any time to read comics or?
I've been getting some of the CG books, so yeah, obviously the Ethan's CYBERFROG stuff I've loved. Yeah, I've backed a few of the other books as well. But as I am much more computer games, Don. I'm much more of that kind of world these days, and I recently got some. I did have ages ago a DK1 set, which was the first version of Oculus, the virtual reality stuff. That was 6 or 7 years ago. So I recently got an upgraded version just to see what they're up to with virtual reality now. And it still makes me sick, but it's good fun. There's a Half-Life game that's absolutely amazing. I don't know if you were familiar with Half-Life, but yeah, they've done a virtual reality one that's brilliant. You know, just the gunplay in that, and shooting the guys with the squiddy alien things on their heads, and those creatures they had with the tongues descending from rooms and trying to grab you and things like that. That's all done amazingly in virtual reality. But I can only do about 30 or 40 minutes, and then I feel sick. So
that was a creepy game. I used to play that, and it kind of gave me the creeps. But I did.
It's amazing, isn't it, how the graphics have got so much better, haven't they? But back then, you did think they were great graphics. I mean, I can remember playing Pong, you know, where all you've got is like a bat and two balls, and thinking, oh, that looks like Bjorn Borg, you know, because I guess my imagination was working overtime, you know.
Yeah, that's funny. That was my first. My parents indulged and bought me a Pong, the console with the two little paddles.
Yeah. Well, I think we had one of those. They were amazing.
You'd hook it up to an old TV and just play for hours. So, Robin, this has been great. I think we're almost up to like 50 minutes of chat with you. Is there anything else you wanted to mention to your fans, or?
Only that I'm sorry I'm not taking on any more work. I've got in bed with the big boys now, and I've kind of just I've got to work on that really. And because I've got so much I've got a lot of things I need to learn in order to be competent, so they don't say, hey, who is this guy? He can't do what we actually need him to do. I'm still sort of trying to fly under the radar and do what I can to look good.
Well, I appreciate your contribution to just making our worlds brighter with these awesome PVCs and
it was great. It was good. It was great to work with Ethan, and I'm very proud of the PVCs and how they turned out. And like I said, I encouraged him to get better modelers, and he has. And they're amazing. And the work they've done on his action figures is way better than I could do. But I do hope people see that there's a little bit of spirit in the PVCs, and a little bit of charm in there. I did spend a lot of time trying to get them to look as good as possible.
You did great. Well, Robin, thank you so much. And
thank you, Don.
We're going to have you back in the chat, so if people are going to comment during our replay, they can ask you if you feel like you want to.
I'll be about
expand on questions, but. We will see you back in a couple days, and I hope you have a great weekend.
You too, Don. Nice talking to you.
Yeah, have a good night's sleep.
You too.
You're probably going to hit it hard and heavy tomorrow, which is your Monday. But
I'll be back at work. Yeah, I'll be back at work. But I'm looking forward to Christmas, and I hope you are as well.
Yeah,
Don.
Merry Christmas, my friend. I have I have a black.
Oh wow.
I was.
Old school.
If I should put it on during our interview, but I might wear it on the other.
That's fine. I wish you had.
All right, Robin.
All right,
thank you so much for your time. You have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. All right, folks. That's our good friend 3D Robin, and he is all the way from England. I know it's getting late over there for him, so we're gonna let him go to sleep. And I will end this interview, but I'll probably be on the other end and just kind of wrap it up with with my live self. So, and then I'll tell you about the other stuff that we have going on this week. I have a real exciting Friday planned for you guys. I'm going to interview some major Hollywood directors, the Nelms brothers, who are famous for the movie Fat Man with Mel Gibson. So definitely check it out. If you haven't already, it's a really fun movie. All right, I'm going to call it a day, and thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to Robin, and we'll talk again soon. Hey, so thank you guys for all bearing with me during that windstorm. It's still howling out there, and I'm so glad that it didn't cut out on us again. So it's always something, isn't it? Well, I wanted to just say, oops, hang on. What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing here today, guys. Okay, I'm just trying to get rid of the share screen. How do I do that? I don't know what I'm doing. Anyways, you're gonna have to just stare at my mug, looking at you in a frozen stupor just for a minute. As we mentioned, guys, we have a special Friday edition of. I've got a new show called Comics Tonight, and it's going to be 5:00 Eastern time on Friday. As I mentioned before, the directors of Fat Man will be my guests. Their names are Ian and Isham Nelms. They're brothers. And so if you have questions about that movie or working with Mel Gibson, you should join. It's going to be fun. They're going to spend like an hour with us answering questions about that movie and what they're up to next. And I'm going to play a trailer to their other movie as we head out today. It's called Small Town Crime. I just watched it like a week and a half ago on Netflix. It's free on Netflix. It's really good. If you like kind of like crime dramas with action, it's a good ensemble movie. It's got really solid actors in it and stuff. You'll see. These guys are up and coming. I've heard rumors that they might be working on something with the production company behind the John Wick movies. So, we might have to ask them about that if they can share anything. Are there any tights involved in this? I don't know about that, Herrenberg. I don't know if tights would, if me and tights would scare them off. I know you're into tights with your video series and stuff, but I'm not sure. I don't think I own any spandex. Maybe I'll have to buy something. Maybe Michael Bancroft will loan me some of his spandex. Anyways, guys, thank you again to Robin, who graciously gave us his time both on Sunday and in this chat today. I know he's probably still working away on video games over in England. It was a great chat. I hope that people enjoyed it. And it was fun to see the behind the scenes on both the video game and the PVC toys. So guys, I'm going to call it a day. I hope you have a wonderful time. Hopefully we'll see you back here on Friday. And then next week on Wednesday, I'm having a special Christmas themed evening show. It'll be a Comics Tonight Christmas special. So we probably won't be doing the Comics and Coffee show next Wednesday. I'm going to have a Christmas themed show, and it will have Ryan Hack, who does a cool Christmas fantasy comic book called Bric-a-Brac. He's going to be our guest. And then our fun co-host will be Leonid Bukowski, who is he's an agent to comic book creators, and he works a lot with Alterna comic book creators, and he's quite a hoot. So if you've never seen Leonid, you can look back on our past videos and see what his vibe is. I guarantee you will laugh. He is a lot of fun. I never know what to expect when Leonid is on the show. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate you hanging with me during that little bump in the technical production. But I'm going to see you guys out with Small Town Crime, the video trailer, and hopefully you guys can join me again on Friday. So anyways, have a great day. Thanks, guys.
Most mornings, I'm about as worthless as a park bench in hell. Usually don't start thinking straight till I get a couple cold ones in me.
I know you found her. I know you feel responsible, but you're not in this.
You shouldn't be fiddling around with some dead girl's phone.
I think what Kelly is trying to say is that you are no longer a cop.
Don't tell me what I'm trying to say.
This is important to me. I'd like to find out who killed your daughter.
What's your rate?
You never really know with this kind of...
$2,500 a week. You all right?
Just wake it up, Steve.
Good time that's been wasted.
We're looking for Mike Kendall.
Good time.
Y'all got a plan? We just want to jump into an old-fashioned dog fight.
Both.
When I think of all the good time that's been wasted.
Screwing a hooker.
I'm gaining her trust.
This could end up really nice for you.
Police have a tendency to miss certain details, important details, and those are the types of details that I pick up.
When I was fighting, I could have done the right.
You ready?
Is that all you bringing? That musket?
It's a high-quality musket, son.
All of that.
You get cute, you get stupid. Well, we both know how that ends.
I was really losing.
We do this. There's no halfway.
Good time.
Mind if I finish my beer?
You drunk? That's good time.
I'm comfortable.
Talking about good time.
What is that, blood in there?
Yeah. It's gonna be extra.
When I think of all the good times that I've wasted.
We have to listen to this.
Having good times.
Hell yeah, this right here gets the blood up.
All the good time that's been wasted. Having good